Hey everybody, Mike with SCHEELS Outdoors, and I got a special treat for you guys today. I have Tom Boley, the one and only. Tom, how you doing today?
Yeah, feels good to be here talking everything ice fishing for the upcoming season. Maybe we catch a few fish tonight, but we're definitely gonna go into some tips and tricks on some new gear and stuff that's working right now.
All right, so Tom, what do you think of the new Humminbird Mega Live?
Awesome, powerful tool. Forward-facing sonar, obviously the future, and it has a ton of different uses. The best part about the Humminbird one, in my opinion, is that it's super simple. It's kind of a one graph does everything. If you're really familiar with the Humminbird interface, how it works, how it functions, and everything like that, you obviously got the Mega Live, your forward-facing sonar. You point it in several different directions, and maybe we'll talk about that in a second here. But you also have the standard just 2D sonar, or the flasher cam that a lot of people are familiar with using through the ice. And this is the Helix 9 Live bundle, I guess you could call it, for ice fishing. And it's super simple for me to transfer all my waypoints from one of my summer graphs to my Humminbird ice unit. So I really have all the mapping I want through LakeMaster, all the waypoints I want for my summer stuff that correlates to ice fishing, and you could do the regular standard flasher or sonar 2D view or the live. So it's really kind of a one unit, does everything for ice, and it's been an awesome unit so far this season.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of put you to the test here. This is a brand new lake. You've never stepped on it before, so it's like, okay, how do we dissect this, figure it out? It's like, I've caught fish in this general area, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. We'll put the electronics to work here. Maybe some panfish. Some more weeds over there. All right, so we're on new lake today, and we're looking at kind of a big point that comes out with some deep water around it, a little bit kind of a secondary flat out here. So we started right at the tip of this so we can kind of see what's going on. And the nice part about Mega Live is we've already seen some weeds around in some deeper water and things like that. And a lot of people, when they think about using like a forward-facing sonar like the Mega Live, it's all about seeing a fish kind of actively come up and bite your lure. But in reality, one of the best things you can do with it is when you're on a new lake, it helps you dissect water very quickly. So if we're fishing for walleyes or whatever, you know, we're kind of on a big flat that's right off the side of a point here. So just by spinning this around, I can right away see that there's a little bit more kind of deep water weeds in one direction, like we can kind of see on the graph right now, right down through here. Or if I spin it out this way, it's just kind of a deeper water flat. If I look kind of back into the point, I can see right where it starts coming up. So it's a super useful tool for kind of telling you what's around you outside of just fish. Thinking about it as a tool to break down structure is super useful. All right, so talking about some of my go-to walleye baits, one new one for this year is the Acme Rattle Master. Now the Acme Rattle Master has been around for a ton of years. It's always been one of the top producers each year ice fishing for me. But it's an 1/8 ounce rattle spoon. And this year we got a ton of different like custom colors. And I wanted a lot of different purple colors, so we got a ton of different purple colors because purple is one of my favorite walleye catching colors. So it's an 1/8 ounce spoon. We took the rattle and like embedded it inside the body, and it's a really hard punching rattle. So your rattle's never gonna fall off. You're never gonna pull one of these spoons out of the packaging or out of your box a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road and not see the rattle on there. And because the rattle's exposed on both sides of the spoon, it is super loud. Upsize the hook on there to make it hold the minnow head a lot better, and more importantly hold fish a lot better. And it's been one of my absolute favorites so far this ice season. And spoons probably catch the majority of walleyes everywhere people are fishing, but essentially the way I like to fish it, get it down there to the bottom, and generally what I'm doing is I'm fishing the bait. We're sitting in 17-18 feet right now, and generally I'll take the bait and pull it about 3-4 feet off the bottom and start doing more of this poppy, snappy type of stuff. A lot of people, when they jig for walleyes with a spoon, they like to get right next to the bottom and do something that looks like this right here. And it doesn't really trigger a lot of aggressive bites because of that. But when you take that bait, hold it 3-4 feet off bottom, and kind of do some of these snaps with it, get the bait jumping and moving, it brings a lot of fish in and makes those fish a little bit more aggressive generally. So that's kind of one of my favorite walleye baits through the ice every year, but it's a lot of these new custom colors, a new rattle, a new hook that make this one of my favorites for this ice season. All right, so the rod we're fishing, and the rod I do most of my spoon fishing with, is the Elliott Evolution Series 44-inch light. It's a light action rod and 44 inches long. Most people aren't used to probably walleye fishing with a light action rod or a 44-inch rod. But the long rod evolution is definitely here, and people are definitely starting to realize a lot of the benefits to fishing with a much longer rod. First of all, the number one complaint we always hear is, oh, I can't fish it in my shack. Pretty much every flip over style shack or any shack you're going to fish it in, there's plenty of room to fish a longer rod in, and we do all the time in our shack. So but the number one advantage is if you're a hole hopper or an outside fisherman, a lot of times it's easy to, you can sit on the snowmobile and have it right, you know, right next to the water like this. You can stand up, you don't have to kneel way down on the ice all the time to fish. But the favorite part, in my opinion, is how much the rod loads. A lot of times for fishing, like let's say shallow water walleyes, or if you're targeting, you know, even bigger walleyes in deeper water, you lose a lot of fish right at the hole because your normal ice rod, it's 28 inches long, 30 inches long. It can't load up enough through the midsection of the rod because the rod's only so long. Or with a 44-inch rod, the head shakes are all absorbed in the midsection of the rod right here. Where a shorter rod, like I said, there's nowhere for all that energy to go. And that's how you lose a lot of fish, especially at the hole. So it's a very long, very forgiving rod, and that's the best part about it. Plenty of backbone to set the hook and fight a bigger fish, yet forgiving enough where those smaller hooks that are on a lot of ice fishing lures don't pull out when you get a big fish at the hole. And obviously Elliott rods are known for how light and how sensitive and all that other sexy stuff that they always say they are, and they are all those things. But having a much longer rod with a very forgiving midsection ultimately lands a lot more fish during the ice fishing season. Alright, so another one of my favorite kind of go-to ice fishing walleye baits is the Hyper Hammer, the Acme Hyper Hammer. And it's kind of a cool bait. It's that classic kind of glide bait, tail bait style of presentation, but it's kind of got a hollow center, which makes it a little bit lighter, a little bit dartier, and it's got a big back hook and a soft kind of glide bait tail to it, which makes it super unique. But it's very glidey because it's not just a solid piece of lead like a lot of the lures in this category are, so it keeps it light and wispy. Now the bait comes in 4 sizes, and I'll use the 2 biggest ones in open water and the 2 smaller ones during the ice season. But basically what I like to do with this style of bait is same thing, get it 2-3 feet off bottom and kind of give it these sharp snaps like this. And basically what that bait's doing is it's shooting out to the side and then coming back to center. Snap the rod, shoots out to the side, lets it come back down to center. Or you can kind of link a bunch of them together like that, and that bait's just kind of shooting out like this, coming back to center and shooting the other way. It's very erratic, especially if you keep the rod moving like this. So generally there's 2 different ways I'll work every presentation. One that's like the attracting quality, which is what you're doing when you're not marking fish, when you're trying to bring fish into the zone. And generally that's a little bit more aggressive, something that looks a little bit more like this, where that bait's hopping and skipping all over the place, trying to attract fish from around you to get underneath you. Then generally once I have a fish that gets underneath me and begins engaging with me, I'll kind of minimize that and generally just work the rod slightly up like this. Where each time I pop that bait, it's going out to the side, coming back to center, stalling, and then you're popping it out again. Most of the bites will happen, you'll pop that bait up and the fish will kind of be engaging with you. You'll go like this, and as that bait's coming back to the center line, that's when generally when you get the most bites on this. So real aggressive when I'm trying to kind of get fish under me, get the fish interested in the bait, and then once you have that fish engaging with you, then I'll go to these little bit smaller hops like this, keep the bait kind of moving up a little bit, let it rest on the center line, and that's most of the time when you get bit. So that's kind of how I like to fish one of my other favorite ice presentations in this tail bait, glide bait series. The Acme Hyper Hammer in those 2 smaller sizes are awesome for walleyes this time of year. So whenever I'm kind of power fishing or fishing these little bit heavier style baits that might be the Hyper Hammer, Rip and Wrap, Hyper Rattle, some of these bigger, a little bit more aggressive style baits that are outside of that category of like an 1/8 ounce spoon, I'll go to a different rod. And for this I like a 42 medium, and this is the same series, the Elliott Evolution series. It's a little bit faster, a little bit stiffer tip, but still plenty of load in that midsection like you guys can see. But when you're fishing this style lure, one thing that's really important is that you want the bait to do exactly what your rod tip's doing. With a spoon you have a little bit of leeway because this fish will still bite that spoon if it's just kind of barely moving, where this I need to be incorporating whatever my rod tip does is exactly what I want the bait to do, because we're not tipping this with live bait. So we want a little bit stiffer rod so our tip's not really bowed over when we're working this bait. And then I like to fish it with an 8-pound Suffix Ice Performance braid, and that tied into like a 10 or an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. And this combo gives me kind of that fastness and that immediate response that I need the bait to have in order to get bit, so I can manipulate kind of every little action that the bait has. So this paired with your glide baits or your little bit heavier, a little bit more aggressive ice fishing lures is definitely a winning combination.
All right, so here we are. I'm filming with Tom Boley, and
GoPro's in the
both
cold.
of my cameras are down because of the cold, and now we're getting into some fish. So, pretty interesting situation. Tom just got a crappie. I just got a sunfish, and there are a pile of them down there. So, good to hear we're getting into them, anyways. Yeah. What do you think there, Tom? Just the trials ice fishing?
Just the trials ice fishing. We're trying all the GoPro hacks here to make it work.
So, yeah, I can't seem to get the cameras to work. It just got too cold. The one got fogged up. So we're just going to have to make do like this. So it's cell phone selfie videos. So
it's what works when just all else fails.
Yeah. I mean, you got to run into situations like this a lot,
yeah.
don't
The
you?
nightmare. It's hard enough to catch fish in the winter, and the hardest part is getting the cameras work while you're catching the fish.
Yeah. I mean, you were talking earlier, like you were on a good bite, but just couldn't get the camera to work,
this morning at like 15 below, catching probably 6 walleyes, in a 5-minute span, and the camera won't turn on the whole time.
All the best things happen when they're not on camera.
Yep.
Yeah. So, hey, talk to me a little bit about that Walleye Now app. How's it going for you?
Yeah, the Walleye Now has been awesome. Obviously, a lot of you guys know it. I might be about to catch a fish. Oh,
you darted down.
But phenomenal tool for open water fishing. We put a ton of effort into making it kind of fast tracks you, the angler, to walleye fishing success, broke down into location and presentation based on a time of year. Well, we're doing the same exact thing for ice fishing, where here's a little fish on right here. Doing the same exact thing for ice fishing, where we're breaking down a lot of different locations and presentations and all sorts of tips that ultimately give you, the walleye angler, kind of the, put you on the fast track to ice fishing success for walleyes. And that's exactly what we're doing. But Mike's got a ton of fish terrorizing
you got to
jig
see
right
this.
Now. There they all are. Nice part about the Mega Live is you can watch them all from one
this is kind of ridiculous
right
now how many fish are down there. It's a ton of fun. There's one coming after Tom.
There he is.
Nice.
Gonna be a little gill, I think. Maybe some little bluegill. Right on the Mega Live.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just like video game fishing there.
Sundown panfish in shallow water. The classic. You got them all over you now, too.
Oh, do I? But yeah, so we were talking about the Walleye Now app before we were so rudely interrupted by that school of fish. So
here they come again.
Oh, man.
There we go. That should be a crappie up high in the water. And it is a crappie way up high in the water column. A lot of times when you're sitting there looking at the graph and you get some fish coming in real low, a lot of times the ones that come in way up high are the crappies. And this one definitely is. And he absolutely choked that bait. And you could sit here and catch a pile of these because they're all over down there right now. Let that guy go.
Ooh, here one comes screaming in. Am I going to catch you?
He came over to me. He's going like way up high. He's lost in the water column. Pike always do that where they shoot up like way past you. Crop dog.
Little crappie.
My first crappies through the ice this year.
Yeah, this is my first crappie through the ice.
Yeah, he's gonna smash. Got him.
Yep.
It's gonna be a nicer
That's
crappie.
so fun. Oh, that is
a nice one.
Oh, you choked that one. Alright, I gotta have proof that I caught a fish with Tom Boley. Okay, we'll try this one last time. Walleye Now app. Talk to us a little bit about how it's going, maybe some of the struggles you've had, and where it's gonna be.
Yeah, so when we started, came up with the idea for the Walleye Now app, we wanted it to be essentially anybody can get on their phone, download the Walleye Now, available on Google Play or the App Store. Click Let's Go Fishing at the bottom, and to select the time of year they're going fishing, and select the type of body of water they're going fishing, and have all the information they need to get pointed in the right direction immediately. And that's exactly what it is. And of course, right on cue, there's a ton of fish coming in here. But some of the bigger struggles we've had with it, one was kind of not so much getting the content, because there's 300 plus exclusive videos on the Walleye Now app that pertain to those two things I talked about, but kind of drawing the correlation to people that might not be as prone to download apps showing them how easy and simple it is to use.
Here,
Yeah, probably. Oh, he just touched it. But showing them how simple it is to use. And it really is that you get on there, you select the time of year in the body of water you're going fishing, and all that information's right there. There's no like complex features to it. It's super simple to use. So kind of showcasing that it's not just information overload. It's all organized in a fashion that's super beneficial to the angler. So that's kind of been one of the things that we've been working really hard to kind of showcase how easy it is to use. Where it's going, we're super excited about that. We're about to come out with a version 2 that does a better job of organizing information, gives me more outlets to put more information, more customized videos on the app, and overall give the user a better experience on the app, and more information to really get them on the fast track to walleye fishing success. And that's a really cheesy, like easy to say punchline, the fast track to walleye fishing success, but it really is. If you're going to a new body of water or maybe a first time for the year, it points you basically directly to the spots where we're seeing fish at that given time of year and the best presentations to fish in that situation with really in-depth, detailed kind of video walkthroughs on each thing. So for the walleye fisherman, it's absolutely the best tool you can have.
Awesome. So, well, Tom, appreciate all the knowledge drops, and
thanks for having me.
Yeah, my little fanboy self got to fish with Tom Boley. It's been something I'd like to do for a long time. So that's pretty cool. Here we are. Caught a couple of fish.
Crappies.
He caught one on my rod, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I had the walleye jig on, and he had the only panfish rod out at the time.
Yeah, I'm fumbling with the camera, and all of a sudden he grabs my rod, sets the hook.
We got her done.
Got her done though. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. More tips and tricks. Come check out SCHEELS Outdoors YouTube. Make sure to check out Tom Boley's page. Need any ice fishing gear? Make sure to check out your local SCHEELS or SCHEELS.com. Thanks for watching.
See you guys later.